Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Queen Amadai TV presents The Root of All Evil. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time that I go live. Okay, so let's see who we have in here. All right, October Opal. Don't need a man, stop telling me I do. Sweet Pea, Queen Adia. Judah Queen, Silent D, Sweet Pea, Sonia, Crystal, Emperor Rex. All right, Roslyn, Lonnie Church. So let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. Because after we do this live, I'm going to the paranormal channel, Beyond the Realm. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to be talking about the Black Mafia family, also known as BMF, okay? With the leader, Big Meech. Also, some of you know the Young Jeezy used to be affiliated with them. All right. Blue Da Vinci. Several other people, Southwest Chi. Okay, so before I get started, does anybody know who these people are? Have any of you heard of Black Mafia family, BMF? Surely you have. Surely you have. Millie says we black again. Okay. All right. So has anybody heard of BMF before? Put ones in the chat if you ever heard of them. If you've ever heard of them, clearly they're notorious. All right. I don't see any ones, so nobody knows who they are. Oh, okay. I was gonna say y'all must be some lames. I'm just kidding. Okay, don't need to mess up telling me I do says no. Hello, Mr. Mercedes. All right, okay. Sorry, no, I'm too old. October Opal. They were popping in the early 2000s. In fact, the leader, Big Meech, he's like 50, okay? So probably not too much older than you or too much younger than you, if younger than you at all. Judah Queen says, I missed it. Jesus says, Black says, as individuals. Crystal says, not really, Queen. Judah Queen talking about what happened. Oh, you're going to find out what happened. Well, okay, so let's talk about it, people. Let's talk about it. Okay, so Black Mafia family, otherwise known as BMF, they were a group, you know, they were supposedly big time drug dealers, you know, hustlers, you know, had lots of money. They were always flashing their money wherever they went, in clubs, you name it. They partied, they popped bottles, they did it all. How do I know? I'm glad you asked, because I saw them at several clubs back in my heydays. But anyway, that all aside, yes, they were widely known, and Young Jeezy was, you know, hanging out with them then. You know, I think he was supposed to be a member. That was the word on the streets. And some say that they were funding his rap career before he signed with Block Entertainment, Warner Brothers. I'm just saying. So with that all being said, damn, just 6 years before me. Right. Okay. Okay, so with that all being said, let's talk about it. Big Meech was part of the Black Mafia family with his brother Southwest T. Now, they ran drugs since the 1980s through 2005, when they were arrested and charged by the DEA. Now, along the way, Big Meech also started the record label BMF Entertainments. Demetrius, that's his real name, Demetrius Flinor. Okay, Flinnery. Big Meech started out breakdancing and DJing in Detroit in the 1980s. Now, over the course of 20 years, he and his brother, who is Southwest T, that's his brother, Terry Flinnery, okay? So anyway, over the course of 20 years, he and his brother built up the Black Mafia family, BMF. Now, the organization was mainly a nationwide drug distribution network. But in 2000, they started a record label under the name BMF Entertainment. Now, while Big Meech was amassing cash and music industry cred, the federal government was tracking the movements of this organization. And when he was jailed in 2005, it was estimated that he was worth $100 million. Okay? Oh, they were stacking Skrilla. Big Meech, born Demetrius Edward Flannery on June 21st of 1968, and his brother born Terry Lee Flannery, January the 10th of 1972, known as Southwest T, started out on the streets of Detroit. That's where they began dealing cocaine while still in high school. Now, he stated in a 2012 interview that he grew up at home with his brother and his sister in a home where both parents were present and neither did drugs or had any drinking problems. They grew up poor and subsisted on WIC, which is Women, Infants, Children, Food and Nutrition Service. And by the way, that program WIC was started by the Black Panther Party. But of course, the lamestream never tells you that. So they had WIC and food stamps. Now they wore the same clothes for days and had holes in their shoes and eventually needed to come up with a large sum of cash fast or be thrown out on the streets. So he and his brother turned to the streets and started selling cocaine. Now the drug dealing continued and expanded through the late 1980s to 2005. And trust me, people, if you all saw Paid in Full, then you know how this story goes. But at the end of the day, they need to make this into a movie. I think there's a show or something about it, but anyway. Big Meech and his brother developed a nationwide drug distribution business with the estimated $270 million in sales. Now their drug empire spanned 12 states. Now this is how you know they were really organized. They were running drugs through 12 states, right? From California to Florida and up into Michigan. Now, in 2001, the two split over a dispute with Southwest T living in California and Big Meech living in Atlanta, where he started BMF Entertainment. Now, the record company signed artists including Young Jeezy and Blue Da Vinci. See, I know all about these things, people, because back in the days, the Queen used to be in the studio with Young Jeezy, Block Entertainment, and all of them, right? Yeah, that's how it went down. Anyway, I told y'all I could rap. Did y'all forget? Goodness, that was my heyday too. Memory says Sweet Pea, okay? So in 2005, the Drug Enforcement Agency, or the DEA, had collected over 900 pages of evidence through various wiretapping operations and testimonies from others, including the seizures of 95 kilograms of cocaine, 572 grams of marijuana in a single bust in 2004. Now then, in 2005, the DEA conducted a massive raid that caught 30 BMF members with $3 million in cash and around 2.5 kilograms, that's 5.5 pounds of cocaine, by the way. Now, that was in addition to nearly $11 million in cash and assets collected in previous raids. Now, in 2005, Big Meech and his brother were charged with running a continuing criminal enterprise, possession of more than 500 kilograms of cocaine with intent to distribute, and another 2 counts of intent to distribute more than 5 kilograms of cocaine, as well as another charge for conspiracy at the same time. Now, they were also charged with conspiracy toward money laundering. Big Meech was arrested outside of Dallas in possession of marijuana, MDMA, and several weapons. Big Meech was then sentenced to 30 years and is expected to be released when he's 61 years old. Okay? He's currently held at USP Lompoc in California. But hold on, because there is more. Real funny, Jesus is Black. I said studio. Oh, you're talking about when I was rapping? Oh, let me tell you something. My career never got off the ground, sadly, okay? But some people called me Triple T. Now, Melanated Brown says, nope, I didn't forget, and I'm waiting on your intro lyrics to your broadcast, Empress. Okay, I'm waiting on it too, because you know what? My son is too busy working on his own music to even be bothered with his mother. All right? Now, Busta Rhymes, I believe, played my son's song on his Instagram or something a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. But so he clearly thinks he's all this and that and doesn't have time for me. But we're going to talk to him about it because he needs to go ahead and get everything mixed for me, right? So means, I hope I'm saying that right, says that's a lot of years. Yes, and he didn't even kill anybody, right? This is how they do. 50 Cent started making the BMF movie and it's using Big Meech son as him in the movie. Okay, I didn't know that. All right. Triple T Queen. Queen, you put mods on here? Yes, absolutely. As soon as I finish. I thought I had a couple on here. Okay. I know your son about to blow up. Well, I hope so. All right. I know you taught him everything he knows. Thank you, beloveds. Now let's get into the rest of this story, because clearly there is more. So with that all being said, right? Meech did try to get out, tried to apply for Melanie Bronson's Got Triple Threat. So now listen, he did apply for early release. Okay. But you know, that didn't go through. And another thing is they're trying to pin a murder on him now, because you know how they do, right? As soon as they think a Negro's getting out, or you're getting out early, oh, wait a minute. Let me go see if I can find some more charges. This is how they do people. So they tried to pin a cold case on him for a murder that happened in, I believe, 2003 or something like that. So let's talk about that. A killing at Club Chaos, Big Meech, BMF, and the murder of Wolf Jones. Now, May the 7th of 2020, the federal government appears to be threatening to charge Black Mafia family founder Demetrius, aka Big Meech Flannery, with a cold case murder from 2003. Now, in a response brief filed last Friday, this is from last year, mind you, this article, people. Okay, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan, Matthew Schneider, requested that U.S. District Court Judge David Lawson reject the legendary drug boss, or reject his plea for a compassionate release amid the COVID-19 crisis, and cited, among other reasons, a pending murder charge from Atlanta. See how they hate? A pending murder charge. Now, mind you, he's been in prison since, I believe, 2005. Now he has a pending murder charge. That's how they do us. Yes, absolutely. But you know what? When this whole thing started with COVID and they started letting people out, didn't they let out some pedophiles who were Mayo? I think so. Now, the cold case being referenced is the November the 11th, 2003 double homicide of Anthony Wolf Jones and Lamont Riz Gertie. Jones and Gertie were gunned down in the parking lot of Atlanta's Chaos nightclub after an altercation inside the establishment with Flannery and his BMF entourage. Now, Flannery was indicted in the case 17 years ago. However, the charges were dropped before trial on the grounds of self-defense. Absolutely. Okay, they said it was self-defense. So why now are they trying to charge him with murder? I'm just curious. And I remember that whole thing. That guy was out there starting BS, the guy who got killed. He had his girlfriend with him. It was a whole mess, and I do believe he was mad about his girlfriend trying to say something to Meech or whatever. But I remember the guy clearly instigated the whole thing, like everybody that was there saw it. So anyway, let me continue. So there's no statute of limitations on murder, and the police in Atlanta haven't closed the file yet, per sources in federal law enforcement. But like I said, they said 17 years ago it was self-defense. Okay? How crazy is that? They say it was over a woman. Absolutely. Okay, so now Big Meech and his younger brother, Terry Southwest T, started BMF from their hometown of Detroit in 1990 and grew it to Goliath proportions, taking over several major regional cocaine markets around the country and cementing a place for themselves as luminaries in the underworld and hip-hop culture simultaneously. Now, the Flannerys were nailed in the mammoth 2005 Operation Motor City bust and pleaded guilty to running a continuing criminal enterprise. They both received a 30-year sentence apiece. Now, BMF's storied reign has been recounted and referenced on countless rap albums in the years since the Flannerys went away. Rapper and actor 50 Cent is currently gearing up to produce a television show on the rise and fall of Big Meech and Southwest T that will air on the Starz network. Well, I can't wait to see that. Now, Terry Flannery, age 50, was released from prison this week via a compassionate release. Now, he'll serve the remainder of his sentence on home confinement. Lawyers for the considerably more notorious 51-year-old Big Meech filed the same request with Judge Lawson last week, and Lawson is taking it under advisement until May the 12th. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office is objecting to Big Meech's potential road to freedom and let Lawson know it was willing to use the Jones and Gertie murders from back in 2003 in Atlanta as a trump card. That's just so hateful. Do you see how they do? Do you see how they do? Okay. Queen Adia says driving while listening. Okay. Inquiring Minds Wants to Know Truth says they always let pedophiles go and smack them on the hand. Exactly. Judges, lawyers, police, politicians are all in on it. Sickos. Yes. The only way you could just be so cavalier to let a pedophile off scot-free with just a slap on the hand or probation when they clearly need life sentences is because you must be a pedophile yourself, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? At least. Now, the story of Big Meech and his connection to and the love affair with the city of Atlanta is well covered ground. From practically the day of the swaggering Corn Road kingpin, the day that he hit Peachtree Street, making the move from Detroit to ATL in the mid-1980s to avoid heat from the feds and warfare from rivals, he was making his presence felt in his new city, making waves and boss moves to boot. Big Meech arrived in town in 1986 on Halloween. Then on Halloween night, 1997, Dennis the Duke Kingsley Walker, the first Detroiter to plant a flag in the Hotlanta dope game over a decade earlier, was shot to death as he drove off from the Westin Peach Plaza Hotel. Kingsley Walker was leaving his own welcome home party, and then an hour earlier, he had been released from prison. Now, rumors were rampant that Kingsley Walker had traded information to the DEA in his case in exchange for a sentence reduction. Flannery was a suspect in the hit, but never faced any charges. Regardless, the message on the street was clear. The Duke and the DKW crew was yesterday's news. Big Meech and BMF and the boys from the D, they were the new sheriffs in town. Now, because of his and BMF's growing reputation nationwide and Big Meech's networking skills with rappers and celebrities, by the dawning of the new millennium, Atlanta was the epicenter of the hip-hop world. Industry events and parties were held almost nightly in the city's trendy Buckhead neighborhood, and Big Meech, always flanked by an entourage of dozens of jewelry-draped women and BMF disciples, was often seen in attendance mugging for cameras. Now, on the evening of November the 10th, 2003, Flannery was partying at the VIP section of Club Chaos, attending the party's popular weekly hip-hop night hosted by So Def Entertainment president Jermaine Dupri. Now, at around 1:30 in the morning, Flannery got into a fight with Anthony Wolf Jones, a bodyguard for East Coast rap music mogul Sean Puff Diddy Combs. Jones was tossed out of the club by security after he tussled with Big Meech, who came to the aid of an ex-girlfriend of Jones's he was allegedly assaulting. Now, hours later, as Flannery and his bodyguard, Amin, also known as Bull, Amin Heights, left the club and made their way to Flannery's Cadillac SUV in the parking lot, they were met by Wolf Jones and his friend Riz Gertie. Another verbal sparring session ensued. Gunshots erupted. When the dust settled, Flannery and Height were wounded. Wolf Jones and Riz Gertie were dead, as they should have been. Okay? They went to his car looking for trouble. So I'm just sorry, but how's that murder? You come to somebody's car with a gun, still trying to carry on the BS that you started in the club, and you're mad because you were beating up on a woman and he tried to stop you? I'm just saying, how are they even trying to even say that was murder? It was clearly self-defense, please. So anyway, Flannery and Height were both charged with the murders. Fulton County prosecutors dropped the case against them shortly thereafter for a lack of evidence of intent. Now, Bull Height, age 43, went down in the Operation Motor City Mafia bust and did 5 years in the case. He was set free in July of 2010. Now, Flannery and Jones knew each other through Combs and had partied together in the past. The Bad Boy Records boss was known to use BMF lieutenants for his personal security detail and may have received early fundings for his fledgling label from BMF Coforce, according to the DEA records. Now, Jones, age 36 at the time of his death, was no stranger to news headlines. He was with Combs and Combs' then girlfriend, actress singer Jennifer Lopez, when they were arrested fleeing a 1999 club shooting in New York with an unregistered gun. He might have single-handedly kicked off the East Coast West Coast rap war by killing Death Row Records CEO Marion Suge Knight's bodyguard and close friend Jake the Violator Robles in a fracas at the Platinum City Club in Atlanta back in 1995. Now, at a party which also happened to be hosted by Jermaine Dupri. Jones was at the top of the suspect case, but avoided indictments. Dolphin mouth. Not dolphin mouth, Sweet Pea. Y'all are too much. Oh my goodness. Y'all are something else. But hold on, people, because clearly there's more. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share. Like and share. Now, the latest Black Mafia family leader, Big Meech, loses his bid to leave prison. And this came out just last month, February the 11th of 2021. So this is fresh off the press. A federal appeals panel rejected the latest attempt by convicted Black Mafia family member, cocaine kingpin Notorious Big Meech Flannery, to leave federal prison 10 years early amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, U.S. District Court Judge David Lawson did not misapply the law or rely on erroneous facts in refusing last year to grant compassionate release to Flannery during the pandemic. Wrote the panel of 3 judges from the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Flannery, age 52, has drawn support from celebrities, politicians, and the broader public while serving a 30-year sentence. Okay? Now, I'm surprised the politicians, but it says celebrities and politicians. He's drawn support from all of them. Now, during the public while serving a 30-year sentence for running one of the largest drug trafficking and money laundering rings in Detroit history. But federal prosecutors say he remains a danger to the community and does not suffer from any COVID-19 risk factors. How come he doesn't? He's Black, ain't he? I'm just saying. And when are they talking about he's a danger to the community? You see how they give Black people who sell drugs like 30 years in prison, decades in prison, but they give pedophiles 10 years of probation. Somebody needs to make that make sense, devils. Anyway, they say, with great respect to these capable jurists who I admire, this opinion completely missed the mark. This is what Flannery's attorney said. His name is Wade Fink. This is what he wrote in a text message to the Detroit News. He says, we pleaded with the court to listen to the medical experts who testified that my client is in serious danger from dying from COVID-19. But the experts were ignored again. And I attribute much of that to the shameful behavior of certain prosecutors in the case. They're just racist haters, that's all it is, who have made my client into a box office type monster. Let me tell y'all something. I want y'all to pay attention. Now, y'all heard the story that I did last night about Fred Tokars. Fred Tokars had his wife murdered in front of his children. But yet, they gave Big Meech about the same amount of time as he did for some of the same crimes, because clearly Fred Tokars was selling drugs or had people selling drugs for him, and also money laundering. But murder was on his list of things to do. So I'm just saying, how does that make sense? Anyway, now, so the Detroit News is running a great deal right now for our, I'm sorry, hold on. That's something else that doesn't have nothing to do with the story. Now, the native of Southwest Detroit headed a national drug ring with brother Terry Flannery that reaped $270 million in profits, employed more than 500 people, and distributed thousands of kilograms of cocaine. Now, the drug ring operated in cities in 11 states, including Detroit, Atlanta, Miami, St. Louis, Los Angeles, and Birmingham, Alabama. The Atlanta hub alone distributed 2,500 kilos each month. Now, Terry Flannery was released on home confinement last year as part of a broader effort by officials to stem the spread of COVID-19 that, according to federal prison data, has killed at least 224 inmates and staff and affected almost 53,000. Now, U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration agents toppled the cocaine empire in 2005 by arresting the brothers along with more than 100 co-conspirators. Investigators seized $21 million worth of assets, including cash, jewelry, 13 homes in Metro Detroit, in Georgia and Los Angeles, and over 36 vehicles, including a Lincoln limousine. And so it was also said that when they found that limousine, that when they moved they were looking through it, searching it, I would imagine. And they said that they raised up the armrest, or not the armrest, but like somewhere in the back of the limo under the door frame or whatever, there was thousands of dollars in there. That's what they say. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what they say. So anyway, Demetrius Flannery laundered money through his rap label and promotions business and BMF Entertainment, and co-owned Juice magazine. BMF Entertainment takes credit for helping launch the career of rapper Jeezy. Flannery proposed living with relatives either in Florida or Michigan. Prosecutors opposed releasing Demetrius, saying that he did not deserve the same treatment as Terry. Who are they to decide who deserves what? Demetrius has a checkered disciplinary record. He has spent time in solitary confinement, illegally possessed a cell phone and a small piece of a razor blade while in prison, and has used intoxicants, according to court records. Now, Demetrius Flannery argued he is susceptible to COVID-19 due to his age and health problems, including hypertension and heart trouble. He is a brilliant and gentle father who is ready to come home and do right by his family and community, his attorney said. I believe in Big Meech, and I won't stop fighting for him, nor will I stop fighting to end what Sixth Circuit judges Karen Nelson Moore and Jane Branstetter Stranch called a drought of compassion for prisoners nationwide, said his attorney. Well, there you go, people. There you go. Let me tell you something. You know what I think? Yeah, I believe that Inquiring Minds wants to know truth. I absolutely believe it. How long do you think he was stay in custody? I bet they were mad as hell. Right, okay, no less. Let me tell you something. Meech did not have the complexion for the protection. Nope, absolutely didn't. Let me tell y'all something. Listen. When people absolutely mean this ex, it is jealousy. Let me tell y'all something. Free Big Meech and see murder. Oh, King Daniel, cut it all the way out. Talking about free Big Meech and see murder. Oh. Yep, they absolutely do. But let me tell y'all something. Listen, I believe in redemption, not in some cases. Now, some people go out here and they commit nefarious acts, but they can change and turn their lives around. But there's some people that are never going to change, and those will be pedophiles. I don't care what nobody says. If you're a pedophile, you're just a sick, nasty, disgusting demon, and you need to get life in prison. If not, the death penalty falls I'm concerned. All right? When you get convicted, you should not be getting probation. You shouldn't even have to, there should be no such thing as a sex registry list. Because if you're a freak and a pervert, a pedophile, you shouldn't have to sign nothing because you need to be behind bars forever. Because that's a sickness. That's what that is. But on the other hand, if you were out here selling drugs, you know, and you didn't kill anybody, well, he had to because it was clearly self-defense. But I'm saying if you weren't out here just being, you know, killing people and all of that stuff, and you were selling drugs, which you clearly shouldn't have been doing, but it's not like you were out here just, you know, doing some things that certain other people do. So I think they should absolutely have compassion. If you are in prison and it's not for a violent crime, then you should have been allowed to get compassionate consideration to go home for COVID. I mean, like I said, they let pedophiles out. And did you all know that there's currently a guy who is a police chief or something like that? He has some high-ranking status with the police department. And he, in fact, has been accused of, well, I think they got rid of him now, but he had been accused of molesting children. And they covered it up for him because he had the complexion for the protection. They covered it up for him. And then now he's supposedly, allegedly molested a 12-year-old. Maybe more than one, but at least one. Now this come back under scrutiny. So I think now they got rid of him. But they knew this all the time, that he had been charged with these things. And nobody did nothing. They even allowed him to rise through the ranks. So this is what they do. But you can be a black person and you can make a few mistakes. Okay, nobody has business selling drugs, but we know plenty of people did. And here's the thing. When they show pictures in movies, you know, and shows about people selling drugs, they always have the black person who's riding around with the fancy cars and all the chains and all that stuff and just living lavish. That's the kind of persona they try to portray as a drug dealer. But they don't say anything about the drug dealers like Fred Tokars. He was a whole drug dealer too. He was laundering money too. And he was a killer to boot. And was so reckless and so nefarious, he even had his own wife slaughtered in front of his own children and said they would get over it. That's what they see. They have passion for people like him. Trust me, they didn't want to convict him. That's what they do. So anyway, he most definitely had the complexion for the protection for collection. Absolutely. Okay. The whites brought the drugs to the black community. Absolutely. So anyway, White Boy Rick. Oh, honey, I've got to see that movie. When I saw the preview, I said, I already know how that's going to go down. When will black folks learn? Right? When will they learn? Anyway, just keep on letting those people infiltrate, and they're going to keep on snitching and getting them in trouble. And at the end of the day, all they'll get is a slap on the wrist. That's just it. I told you all, those white folks I used to work for who owned the business, one of them told me her grandson, who was 16, had a brand new Mustang he got for his birthday because he was spoiled, driving in the rain and fishtailing because he's flying down the street. Clearly could have hurt himself or somebody else. Gets pulled over by the police, and guess what? He had a whole Ziploc sandwich bag full of ecstasy pills. Now, this was years ago. He didn't get arrested. You know what the police did? Yeah, they put him in the police car and drove him home to his parents and told the parents what he did and said that they had found him with drugs. Now, they confiscated the drugs, but they didn't take him to jail. Wasn't that nice of them? Wasn't that so nice? I'm telling you, the law works in their favor. And let me tell you something else, too, before I go. This is kind of off topic, but just to prove a point. There was a white guy who used to work with me. He said that he went out to the club one night and got drunk, and he was riding home, and the police pulled him over and asked him had he been drinking. He said, well, I had 2 or 3 beers. That's what everybody says, right? When they clearly know they're drunk, 9 times out of 10. So anyway, the police asked him where he lived, and he told them. They said, get in your car. I'm going to follow you to make sure you get home without causing an accident. I kid you not. I kid you not. That's what they do. But those same police tried to take me to jail one night on Christmas because I had an accident and I don't even drink. I guess they thought if they took the test and made me take the test enough times, they would find something, but clearly they did. I was in an accident. A guy cut over in front of me, right? I clipped the tip of his bumper. Now, it was no damage. It was no damage whatsoever. But as they often do, he called the police. So when the police got there and I told him what happened and the guy told his version of the story, he says, well, ma'am, have you been, no, he says, ma'am, yeah, he says, ma'am, have you been drinking? I said, no, I don't drink. And then, so he says, well, are you sure you haven't been drinking? I said, yes. He said, well, I know it's Christmas. People are going to be drinking. I said, I don't even celebrate Christmas. So then he asked me to take a sobriety test. Wants me to get out the car and take one, right? So I got out the car. Now, mind you, I had been out at my friend's house and I had on some high heel shoes and it's pouring down raining, mind you. So he wants me to take a sobriety test. You know how you got to walk in a straight line and all this and that. Okay, I didn't have no problem walking in a straight line, but I had on 6-inch heels and it's cold and raining outside. So I took my shoes off to take the test. So I'm walking in my stocking feet and I passed the test. Clearly I wasn't drunk at all. He's telling me, put your hand on your nose, do this, do that, and all the little silly stuff they tell you to do. And I did it, right? You know what this fool gonna tell me? This how you know he wasn't nothing but a racist devil. He says, Well, I can't tell if you passed it or not, so I'm going to have to call some other officer. I forget the officer's name, or his rank. I'm going to have to call so-and-so because he's an expert at this. I said, oh, so you all have experts on field sobriety tests? I thought anybody could give one. So he calls the other officer. Mind you, I had to sit there for about 30 minutes on the side of the road with this fool waiting for the other cop to show up. When he gets there, I did the same thing over again. And he's like, oh, she's fine. Now, let me tell you something. That fool knew I wasn't drunk. I'm telling you, he knew. I was talking just like I'm talking right now. Do I sound drunk to you? Do I look drunk to you? He was just being an asshole. That's all that was. That's all that was. That's why I can't stand racist dogs. Okay? Queen, you did not have to take that test. Honey, I know. But like I said, what I don't do is argue with glacier donkeys on the sides of roads. Okay? That's what I don't do. I handle those situations in court. He didn't like that answer, Queen. I know he didn't. I know he didn't. And I also told him that he clearly didn't know the law that he should have known. And I knew it because I went to school for criminal justice. And I know he didn't like that either. Okay? But I'm not going to sit there and argue with fools. He wanted me to take the test. I just went on and took it, honey. Because I didn't have time to be sitting there on the side of the road. And if I knew that he was going to call the other dude and I was going to have to wait another 30 minutes, child, please, I probably wouldn't even got in my car. He wanted to find something. That's always the thing, beloved. That's always the thing, LeVar. Whenever they pull a black person over for a traffic stop, they always want to escalate it to a drug bust. Good luck with that, because I don't do drugs, I don't sell drugs, and I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, okay? So miss me with it. I don't know what he thought he was going to find, but all he found was a bad attitude, okay? And then, you know what? I was talking trash. Now, I don't advise you all to do this, and clearly I've learned my lesson, but I was so mad. I was talking trash, right? After the guy said I passed, I was just talking trash. And he's looking at me. He says, ma'am, I didn't even give you a ticket. Like you did me a favor. You didn't give me a ticket because you didn't have no reason to. Talking about like he did me a favor. But ma'am, I didn't even give you a ticket. I know you didn't give me a ticket. You don't have no reason to give me a ticket. Bitch. That's what I wanted to call him. He wanted to provoke you. Of course he did, but I'm not falling for it. I know he did, honey. I know he did. But see, the good news is I know how to talk trash in a calm voice and talk trash without using profanities. So really, can't do nothing. But the whole nerve of it, wasting my darn time. And they always call backup no matter what a woman or man or whatever. Absolutely. And it was in Cobb County. Y'all know how racist they are in Cobb County, okay? And that's the same place where that woman was on the news and she said, she was shaking. It was a white lady and she was shaking. The police said, why are you so nervous? She said, I don't want to get shots. He said, oh, we only shoot black people. You didn't know that? And then when he got busted and exposed because it was on tape and recorded, he tried to say he was just joking. He wasn't joking. They do only shoot black people. He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right, Terry. Okay. Oh, these devils. But anyway, people, I'm going to conclude this broadcast because you know what? I'm late for my other broadcast. So you all come and join me on the other channel, right? Queen Amadai TV presents Beyond the Realm. Because we're going to talk about the story of Freddy Krueger, that movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street, how the true story that actually inspired that. I bet y'all didn't even know that, huh? Oh, yes. It all came from true occurrences. So with that all being said, everyone, please like and share the video. Remember that prank. If I was playing and he wasn't, that's still a sick sense of humor. Absolutely, Conscious Outlaw. Absolutely. You all are so crazy talking about remember that prank. Don't remind me, okay? Oh, so anyway, I will talk to you all soon.